I don't know. Is it on mute? I don't know if I'm muted.
Fran, do you know if Eric knows there's a meeting tonight?
Yeah, I delivered the package Monday. I talked to him.
Did they set their clocks back?
Is Fran Lowly there?
Yes, I am.
My name is Tommy. I'm from Long Island Mason and Concrete.
Okay, you can wait, Tommy. Yeah, you're on the agenda, so they'll call you. They'll call you towards the end of the meeting. So
How do I know? What do I do?
you'll have to present the application. So
Okay. I mean, what do I do? Sit here and watch the whole meeting, or
you do, yes, yep.
how long is this going to be about?
I could maybe an hour. I don't know.
Okay, because I have no paperwork with me. I sent it all to you.
We have everything.
Right.
The commissioners have it all.
Okay.
Fran, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, my computer had to do that 8-minute update, of course.
Yeah.
All right, we got everybody?
Yes.
All right, so welcome to the Brookfield zoning meeting. It's November 12th, 7 p.m. Our regular meeting held remotely via Zoom. First thing we're going to do is do the previous meetings. I guess everybody was here last week except for Tony. Mary, do you want to do it?
I'm sorry, do the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I did have a correction. I did not open the meeting and last time you did. I opened the October 8th meeting, not the October 22nd meeting.
This one said I did.
It said, where am I? It said Vice Chair M. Capiello convened the meeting at 7 p.m. and established a quorum of members for the
That's
October
true.
22nd meeting. That was in fact you.
Yeah, that was me. Okay.
Yep, so that was the only thing I noticed. Anything else for anybody?
Kurt? Okay.
Oh, everything looked all right. I thought, but my memory
I
maybe.
did
I did-
open the meeting.
I did the October 8th meeting.
Okay.
You know, we're gonna be
Oh, I
all accurate and everything.
Yeah.
All right,
Everything
that-
else was good. I didn't have any corrections.
all right. Then I move that we accept the meetings from October 22nd, 2020.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, Fran?
Yep. Okay. 84 Laurel Hill Road, Fedora residence. I had it on there. There was a bunch of debris. Received a complaint on the property. A boat was in the front yard. I went by there a couple days ago. The property's cleaned up beautiful. It's amazing what a phone call and just some cooperation does. So property looks good. It's no longer in violation. So I'm going to remove that one from the report. 4 Deer Run Road. It was another blight complaint regarding a boat that was damaged during the macro burst back in 2018. I went by there the other day. The boat is still there in the same place, and the applicant now has a shed on the property without a permit. So I'm going to do a cease and desist order to him tomorrow morning when I get back in the office. That's going to be cease and desist with the boat and the shed because there is no permit for the shed. CPD Properties, 823 Federal. That's just, I guess, the Shell station up there. They have the propane cage. Actually, I did a notice of violation, and then I did do a cease and desist on this. Sorry, I forgot to change it over to the other notices. But a cease and desist was sent out on this property. They had 10 days to respond to it. They still have 4 more days upon the receipt of the notice. I received the green card back. 56 Huckleberry Hill Road. That's another one that was a blight complaint. I did go by there the other day. The property is cleaned up immensely nice. He has until the 15th. He asked for 60 days to get it cleaned up, and he's doing a wonderful job. So any more he can do in that time, I have no problem with. So it looks a lot better, and the neighbors have stopped complaining. 12 Junction Road. It was a homeowner installed a pool in his backyard. He called me on 10/26. The pool's been removed from the property. He disassembled it, and he will obtain a permit in the springtime to reinstall it. So that one I'm going to remove from the enforcement report. 891 Federal, Mr. Alvarez. This is the guy with the chickens. I haven't gotten around to do the notice on the chickens, but he hasn't responded to the notice of violation for the commercial equipment. So I'm going to do a cease and desist on that one also. And I'm going to include the chickens in there too. So 39 Federal Road. That's the Sleepy's, I guess it is, or mattress firm down there. They weren't removing the feather flags and all the signs. So I sent the property owner a notice of violation. He in turn and called me immediately. And he called the store and had them remove everything as a violation of their lease. So, and I've gone by there and it's been clean so far, knock on wood. So 840 Federal Road, that's Brookfield Lanes. I observed that they did a new roadside sign called Strikers. And then they had a banner up in the front promoting the bowling alley. I spoke to the owner who has since removed the banner and he has applied for a sign permit. So that's in the works. 196 Wisconsin Road, the Butler residence. They got the chicken coop across from the grotto over there. The coop has been moved to the rear of the property. The only thing left is the roof for the coop. And she said that she needs some strong men to help her move it. So that's in the process of being moved. But at this time, the chicken coop is gone and the neighbor seems happy. So, but I'm just going to watch it to the roof because that roof is a big roof. And then 41 AC Core Road, they got commercial vehicles. Alice and I went out there on 10/28. She's still got commercial equipment back there, but they're moving all the wood that they encroached on town property on. So it's a work in progress. So we gave them another 30 days. So we have another inspection set up for the end of the month and we'll go back out there. And that's that. Eric, you're muted.
Yeah, I guess that helps. All right, so we have no continued public hearings, no public hearings, so we're going on to 6, old business. And the first one, 6A, 30-35 Woodview Drive, proposed zone change, application Z-20-88. Tony, were you able to get caught up on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is the one where we have the zone change from an R40 to an R15.
Mhm.
The neighboring properties all seem to be R15. This one was an R40, so they're looking to go to R15.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure, Kurt, you wanted to say a couple things, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to go over the timeline and how these lots that are R15 now changed to that and what the process was for that, and just go over a timeline. So some of the timeline we know already, and then I have corrections on information we've gotten in during the open part of the public hearing. So at the beginning of all this, that Woodview subdivision, whatever it was called, it was formed in February 24th, 1958. That's pre-zoning, pre-planning commission, pre-everything. So those were mostly half-acre lots, and there's some slightly larger there. Planning commission formed about 6 months later. So because of that, this is not an approved subdivision. It's just a subdivision before there was any approvals to be given. And then these two lots in 33 and 35 Woodview, one was purchased in 59, and then zoning came into play in 1960, I think around June 15th. So we had zoning, and then the zones were R7 for most of those in Candlewood Shores, and the next one was R40. So a big jump there, R7 to R40. And these lots in that subdivision were all R40 lots. And then in 1964, the abutting lot to 33 Woodview or 35 was bought. And now these two lots were owned by the same person. But they weren't automatically merged because we didn't have that provision. That provision didn't come into the regs until 2018. So in 2018, December 21st, that's when our new regs came into place. The zoning map was revised, the R15 was created, and then this merger provision was also put in there that any two lots that were abutting and one was undeveloped and they were both non-conforming, that those two lots were then legally regarded as one lot because they more closely matched the zone they were in. And so the question was, well, why were these two lots not put to R15 when the rest of them were? And it was because when when we had the people we hired, Mylon and McBroom, go through, one of the things we wanted them to look at was how many lots would be affected by this R15. And we wanted to, the reason we wanted an R15 is because there's a lot of variances coming through because all these lots were only half acre. And for an R40 and you want to put a pool or you want to do anything that seemed reasonable, they had to come in for a variance, and it just didn't seem to make sense when so many variances are coming in. It really said to the group that, hey, you know, we have the wrong zone here. We really have to recognize that these are smaller lots. They have been since they were formed back in 1958 in this case, and there's some other ones around the town like this. And so the Mylon and McBroom went around and located all those lots and how many of them were contiguous. And we were trying to decide where's the breaking point. Should it be 15,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet? So they're trying to come up with that. And one of the things they didn't want to do was they had to be careful not to apply it to lots that were larger and create this idea of people taking large lots and breaking them into two, and all of a sudden now you got two building lots where before you had one. So as they went through, you can, and if you look at the existing zoning map as it was, and it even shows it now, that particular lot, 33 and 35, were already regarded as one lot as far as the zoning map was concerned. And so what the other tenant we have in zoning was that if you're going to make a lot, a zone line between two different zones, you want to go along property lines. You don't want to cut a property in half. And so if you look, there's a lot of larger lots and that line comes down, and this was also a large lot. So they included this one and they separated out all those half acre lots to the left of that line, to the west of that line. And that's why when they went through, this particular lot was left at R40 because it was already over 40,000 square feet. And they didn't want to create a situation where someone might say, hey, let's split that lot in half. You might also notice, because this was brought up in the in the discussions or the public hearing that there was 4 other lots in that subdivision that actually were owned, two sets of 2 lots that were owned by the same people. And the question was, why weren't these ones also regarded as that? But when Milo and McBroom looked at the zoning map, these were still their half-acre sized. They were small lots, whereas this 33, 35 wasn't. So that is the official map they had to go with. And as they went through, that was the difference between the two. That's why those were not left as R40, because they were 2 small lots, not one bigger lot merged together. And that's how it came about. That's how 3335, which was already regarded as a larger lot in the zoning map, stayed R40, and these other ones in the neighborhood didn't. And those ones were kind of separated. It would almost look like spot zoning, or, if you carve those out in the middle of the neighborhood. So that's how it happened. And that's why that was left as R40. And that brings us back to now. Now, I did send something off to Tom Beecher. I suppose everybody saw it. He didn't get back to me with everything, except he did say the instant the regulation came into being, which is a merged provision, and the fact that those 2 lots were like that, or in the future, if someone bought an adjacent vacant lot, they would instantly become legally 1 lot. So that happened as soon as our new regs were put into effect, which was, I forget when it was. I think it was December 2018. Oh yeah, December 21st, 2018. So, so right now, those other lots in that neighborhood are now considered 1 acre lots. There's 2 instances of that. Though they are still R15. So these 2 things happened at the same time. R15 was applied, I don't think it could have happened separately, but that's what happened. And that's where we are now, The other question I asked Tom Beecher, but he hasn't gotten back yet because he was too busy, though I don't think it has any bearing on what we decide tonight, because we're only deciding on what's in front of us, which is 33 and 35, is when does someone actually, implement the change? When does the documentation change, and which documentation? Because in this case before us, the GIS at one point was 1 lot, and so it was sold as 1 lot back in 2019, July 9th. And then all of a sudden, you feel like at GIS now, it's 2 half-acre lots. So something weird is going on there. Or not weird, but it's a fact that the systems and the different documents can get out of sync with each other. Here we have a zoning map, which is an official regulation. We have a GIS, which is supposed to mirror it, but it doesn't in some respects. And then we have the deeds themselves, which that's the way they started, but legally now they're 1 lot. And my question to him was, when does it happen? What triggers the change? The practical change, not the legal change. The legal change happens instantly, but practically speaking, is it when someone does something on the lot in land use? Is it when the lot gets sold and someone researches the whole thing and finds out, oh my gosh, it's 1 lot, not 2? But we can, I think, put that aside, but it's important to solve that issue because it got us into where we are right now.
Let me ask you a question, Kurt, since you researched that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about it got sold about a year ago.
Yes, about a year ago. Yeah.
So it got sold after the implementation of the new zoning.
Yeah, about zoning happened in December of 2018. The lot was sold in July of 2019.
All right, let's say that it was, let's just say that it was R15 back in the 2018, right? And when they sold it, because it was the same 2 lots sold to the same person, wouldn't it automatically merge even if it was there?
Yes. It would have been merged then, back in 2018. Even if it was R15, it would have merged, just like
Merged.
the other two instances. That's right. So you would have
Right.
had a 1 acre lot in an R15 zone.
So even if, we went back and we had the zoning that was R15 at that time, once it got sold as that to the same owner, those two lots on, what you imagine is one Schedule A, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess, in this regards. But once it got sold to the same person, because it was unbuilt land, wouldn't that underneath our new zoning regulations anyways, it would have changed it back to one lot? Merged it?
And in 2018, actually, it was under same ownership in 2018 by the previous owners. Yeah.
But
So it
let's
was
just
already
say,
one lot. It was
right,
already.
but let's
one
just
lot.
say it was two separate owners and it was sold to one
Oh,
guy
yeah.
in 2019. We'd be saying it went back and merged into one lot again.
That's right. Oh, no.
No?
The provision for that is only applying to non-conforming lots. And the reason
Okay.
for that is because they want to make things more conforming. So if you have these two lots owned by the same person and they're both not conforming, they merge to become more conforming.
All right, so if it was R15 back in 2018 when they sold, it would still been two lots.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
only because it was made into an R40 that it's not conforming and then automatically merges.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Not made in, well, it was made back in 1960 into an
Right,
R.
but then we kind of redid it again in 2018.
Yeah, and just to be clear, there was no merger provision in our regs until 2018. So they were still considered two separate lots, even though they were non-conforming, up until 2018, December 21st. At that instant, when that merger provision became part of the regs, they were legally merged, as were the other ones in Woodview there that are owned by two other owners.
So basically, the buyer in 2019, if he did his research with our zoning, would have understood that he bought really one merged lot.
And in fact, it was sold as one lot. It was sold as a 1 acre lot back in 2019. If you look at the sale and everything, and whether they realized it or not, that actually mirrored legally what it was. It was a 1 acre lot. So, and that brings us up to today.
Does anybody else want to discuss anything on this? That's part of my zoning commission. We ready to vote on this?
Sure. Well, I just, let me give you my feeling about this, just in case, if someone wonders, is I think it should be left as it is because, legally speaking, it was a 1 acre lot, sold as a 1 acre lot. And it's been acted like one for a while. And when when the new zoning came along, that's why it was left as R40. So.
Now, what I see as the competing interests is that the surrounding properties seem to be R15. This one seems to be R40. So on the one balance we have, okay, we have neighboring properties that are R15. And then on the other side, we have this property, which is an R40 and has been basically an R40 for a very long time. And the new owner bought this property. If he did his research, it still would have been R40 at that time.
Right.
So is there really a balance of fairness when a new owner comes in versus what we talked about the other week with the residential versus commercial buildings that they didn't even really understand how they went from one to another. We don't really seem to have that argument here.
Right. I agree.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion on this one?
Oh, sorry, looking at the wrong piece of paper. Well, my motion would be to deny, though I don't know we do those, do we? Do we just make
Do we
a
have,
motion to approve and deny?
does anyone have a motion to approve this?
Is everybody on mute?
Yeah.
Well, I can make a motion to approve and then we can vote as we vote. Why don't we do that?
Yes, that's the way you
I
do
would
it.
do that.
Yes.
All right. So I make a motion to approve 3335 Woodview Drive proposed zone change, application Z-20-88 from an R40 zone to an R15 zone.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so Mary seconds it. Now we have a discussion. So we have voting members tonight. We have Tony, Leslie, Mary. I think I have to elevate one, right, Fran?
Yeah.
All right, well, since Kurt made the motion, I'm going to elevate Kurt tonight. All right, so I have a second from Mary. I guess we're going to say all in favor. All against? Aye.
Aye.
Motion doesn't carry.
Thank
Does
you.
that cover it, Fran?
That's it.
Okay. All right, we're on to 6B, outdoor dining. As you guys all know, things have changed pretty rapidly for Connecticut
They have.
and New York, New Jersey now. Thanksgiving's coming, you know, my daughter's coming home from college. Everybody knows it's only going to get worse. So on that regards, I'm going to take back what I said last times about the outdoor dining. And I think we really need to leave it out there. That's my personal opinion. I think we need to leave it out there. If they want to do, like, I hear people are talking about igloos, not in Brookfield, but elsewhere. You know, maybe those are going to become more affordable so they can have some outside dining. So I would like to keep it going as long as that there's some safety issues to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
Well, right now, the problem with the igloos is the fire marshal and I guess ventilation and stuff. So they're trying to work on something with that. So
Right, but at least we're not holding up the restaurant.
no, it's
We'll-
not.
we'll-
No.
Right, so we'll keep it going, and the fire marshal and them, they have their own say. So I think it's the executive orders are until right now, like the end of January, right?
February 9th.
February.
February 9th. When's our next meeting? Let's see. In February, we have a meeting.
December.
December 10th, I believe.
Yeah, do we want to do that? Or we just want to put it out to February 11th?
Yeah.
Because the COVID, what I don't want to do is I don't want to make it go meeting to meeting. If someone goes, wait, I don't want to buy something because they could take it away next time. If we know that this is going to be in at least till February, or we have a meeting February 11th.
Right.
Why don't we do that, February 11th? Because
Yeah, this way
like
we-
we decided, if they can think of a safe way that passes muster with the fire marshal and stuff, then
And it's gonna cost them money to do whatever they're gonna do. So I don't want them to be going meeting by meeting. Okay.
I think that makes sense. I keep seeing people saying it's mixed signals to say you can't get together with your family for Thanksgiving, but you can go to a restaurant and have 10 people inside. So I think we need to provide every opportunity for people to eat outside, so.
All right, so I guess we're all agreeing then to extend it to the February 11th meeting.
Yes.
Do you have to do a motion for that, Fran? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. All right, so does anybody want to say anything else about the outdoor dining? All right. We're on to 7A, 730 Federal Road, application Z-20-112, the design review for a 6,000 square foot professional medical office and retail building with associated driveway, sidewalks, grading, utilities, and landscaping. Who do we have here?
You're just setting a public hearing. You're just setting a public hearing.
All we doing is setting a public hearing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the first date we can set that for?
December 10th.
All right, do I have a motion?
make a motion to set the public hearing for 730 Federal Road, Z-20-112 for December 10th, 2020 meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Just that it would be nice to get elevations. There's no elevations in the package. Otherwise, the package is pretty complete.
Okay. Can you get that, Frank?
Okay. Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, 140 Federal Road, Chick-fil-A, application Z-20-113. Anybody here for that?
He's here, or he was here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, your name and address for the record, sir?
Name is Tom McBain from Long Island Mason and Concrete, 100 Fairfield Avenue, Mineola, New York, 11501.
All right, tell us what you would like us to do. What you would like to do.
Well, the Chick-fil-A needed a sidewalk behind their curb on either side of the drive-through for safety for their employees. You know, we've done it a bit in New York, and they asked me to come up there and do that for them. And that's about it. We put a sidewalk on the backside of the curb on either side of the drive-through because the employees were standing in the drive-through, passing the food. It just wasn't a safe situation.
I see that your sidewalk cuts through the building.
What?
It looks like your sidewalk cuts into a building. Is this sidewalk drawn the scale with this highlighter or no?
Cuts into a building? It's just a 4-foot sidewalk on the backside of the curb. That
Those
might be the
might-
menu.
Well, what was turned over to us has a looks like a rendering of a highlighted sidewalk, and my highlight goes through a building.
Is that outdoor seating maybe?
Yeah,
No,
it looks
not-
like
not-
outdoor seating there.
Not at all. Let me see if I have what you're looking at. It might be the menu board. We routed the sidewalk around the menu board. That might be what it is.
No, there's definitely tables there.
Yes,
Hold it.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at what you're looking at. Where are we construing as a building there?
Right near
where
where the
the new-
steps come down.
Yeah, where the new
That-
steps come
That
down.
edge, that one little edge right there?
Yep.
No, the highlighter is not to scale.
Oh,
It
I
was just,
think we're gonna,
it's just for reason of showing you where the sidewalk is.
I would like to see how the sidewalk's gonna go in the scale. That's what we usually get.
The sidewalk's in already. Fran knows that.
We mean
The
the
work was
sidewalk.
done on a Sunday without permits or a
Oh.
site plan approval.
Okay, well, we need to know exactly where this is on the map, not just a highlight, because this doesn't tell us. Right now, it looks like we make this part of record, looks like you went right through a corner. So I would suggest you come back, at least for me. I won't vote on this, me personally, unless I know exactly where this sidewalk starts, ends, and where it's located on this map.
Where the highlighting is exactly where it is.
Then it's going
simply-
right,
it's-
going
no,
right
it's
through
not
the
going-
dining area then. I'm not gonna
No.
approve it.
Yeah, not at all. Of course, it can't go through the dining area. That's a raised platform.
Okay,
It
so then
stops
you
at
need
that, it stops at the point and it continues and it goes beyond.
all right, well, that's not what is given to me or to my commission. So I would suggest that you come,
Fran, you saw the sidewalk, right, Fran?
sir, it doesn't matter. You got to come back to my commission and we have to approve something that you turned in. If I approve this, it looks like you can almost go ahead now and expand your sidewalk that's already there and put it through this building. So I need to have something, shows exactly where it starts, how thick it is on this, because right now, you know, the way you turned it in, if I said yay on my vote, then I'm saying you can put the sidewalk right through that edge.
The sidewalk's in already.
I
The
understand, sir.
sidewalk's there.
You actually
The
understand.
sidewalk is in place.
Gotcha, 100%. So if you could draw it on a map for us, to turn it in for us to prove, then I think you're gonna have a much better shot.
Yeah,
Okay, because
just
I'm
get-
not, honestly, I don't know what else to do but what I've done. I really,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
want to
suggest-
sound ignorant, but
Well, I'm just telling you right now, what I would suggest you do is
Right.
just like if you're putting in a patio, you're putting in anything else, you show dimensions from buildings, from everything. This shows no dimensions. This is a highlight that goes through another lifted, elevated area. This is what we rely on. we have to assume that sidewalk's not in. We're approving it. This will be forever on our records as approved.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Do you understand what we're looking for now, or what I'm looking for? An accurate drawing and representation of exactly where the sidewalk is.
Yeah, so if you knew like how far it was from the edge of that raised outdoor dining area.
It's
To the
butting right
driveway.
against it. It's butting against it.
Okay.
It goes, I mean, it's, you know, I don't know really what to say.
We need a drawing that shows that. We need a drawing with a line of the edge of the sidewalk, exactly 4 feet away according to the scale on this drawing. You know, the actual line showing where the sidewalk is. So you can go to the architect who drew this and say, could you add a line, Mr. Laurel Group, showing 4 feet out? So we have it for our record, because someone can go back into the record years later and say, hey, you know, this is exactly what they built or they didn't build, but we have to have exact dimensions. That's what we approve. We don't, like Eric said, like the chairman said, we don't approve, you know, highlighted things that we have no measurement of how wide that actually is. Because that's our record. That's what the, you know, everybody after us, you know, after we
Well,
die
the
and
words,
everything,
I'm not here to argue, but the words 4 foot wide sidewalk behind existing curb
it's
from
not
one
enough.
end of the highlight to the other doesn't suffice?
No,
Correct, sir. It does not suffice. That is correct.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
What's the
Thank you.
next? So what? I'll send you one more copy? I mean, or we need 9 more copies?
I would suggest you go to your architect. They can easily do snap lines on where your sidewalk begins and ends and the width on this drawing, and then just turn that back in. This way we know here, if you're telling me that this wasn't drawn by a computer, I'm not even sure if your beginning and end lines are actually true either, because they're somewhere about. So have them completely snapped in and we'll be all set.
Okay,
All right. All right.
Do you want to
You wanna-
continue that?
You
You're
want
going to make a
continue
motion?
this out to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move that we continue Z-20-113 for Chick-fil-A, 156 Federal Road, the new sidewalks, to our next meeting, which is December 10th, 2020.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we have somebody here for green initiatives on electric vehicles.
That would be me.
Oh, hello, Mr. Dembowski.
Good evening, Commission. I believe Allison has a presentation that should have been in your package. If she can pull that up, please. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is this is going to be a very brief presentation. There is a ton of material that I have, and I've only included about 19 pages from many, many meetings I've been at on this subject. I'm going to be very brief tonight. What I want to leave you with is just scratching the surface on what's coming down from the federal government through Hartford to Connecticut on the whole idea of PEV, plug-in electric vehicles. So with that, I've pulled together a few pages just to give you a very brief update and introduce you to the subject. So I'll be going through these 19 pages in literally less than a couple of minutes. Stop me if you'd like. Again, I just want to introduce you to what's going on. Next page, Allison. So I've been asked to participate. Maybe you can make that screen smaller so the whole page fits on. I've been asked to participate in a 12-week module training program. And those 12 modules are listed on this page, on the bottom part of this page. And I am one of hundreds of people across the state. I think 60 or 70 communities are involved in this training program. And it's about having municipals learn about what it takes to be ready for plug-in electrical vehicle technology, the infrastructure. And today was module 9, workplace charging. So the ones I want to hit on today have to do with planning and zoning and permitting and such. So that's going to be the highlight of what I go through over the next couple slides. Next page. So this is module 5 that I went to a couple weeks ago. It's about planning and zoning. And they spend over an hour on each one of these modules. And all I want to point out here is they give us a task at every meeting. They list a bunch of tools, which are basically websites with tons of information, mostly federal websites, some state. And on the next page, Allison. They also give us resources, which are basically reading materials on how you can learn about PEV as it relates to a particular module. I'm not going to really go through any of these. I'm just going to point out that there is a ton of material and a lot of examples, both in the state and federally, on towns that are adopting and getting ready for electrical vehicle technology. So next slide, please. So one example is incentives. One of the things commissions do in the state, I don't know if you can flip that, Allison, maybe not, is there are some towns are actually providing zoning incentives. And I will tell you, every time I go to a development services meeting now, I'm going to mention this to developers who are putting in apartments or condos or any kind of housing, that there are incentives that are out there. The incentives are both financial. There's large tax credits available to businesses and residents, but there's something your commission may want to consider for future apartments or condo projects, and that is providing zoning incentives. And there are examples of what towns have done across the state. Let me give you one that comes to mind, is some towns for new developments like apartments are offering to developers, for every EV parking spot they put in, they count that as 3 parking spaces towards their parking permit table. That's one way, that's one example of what some towns are doing to incentivize developers to make the investment for this technology. There are others, but let me just say there are incentives that you as a commission can consider, and there's financial incentives available to developers. And I want to make sure I tell applicants that come in, at least from an economic development perspective, there are reasons why we would like them to consider this. Maybe you would, and I'll get to that later in the presentation. Next page. There are also requirements, usually, requirements both in infrastructure and for commissions, that you want to make a development EV ready. In this little bar graph, it just shows it's much more cost effective to put the infrastructure in when you're building a new, let's say, apartment complex versus doing it after the fact and having to put the infrastructure in and renovate. So that's all I'm really saying here is you want to put the wiring and the conduit in during a development of a project, not after. Next page. So with every module, they kind of ask for an action plan, for every town to come up with an action plan. And that action plan for this module was for me to communicate to the Zoning Commission and the EDC, which I will do next week, about this whole program and what the state's trying to do. I have also asked to make this presentation to the Planning Commission. So that's kind of just a real quick note on why I'm here tonight. Next page. There are allowances that you can make as a zoning commission. And those allowances can be really stated in the zoning regulations. I could be mistaken, but I don't know if any of our zoning regulations talk about PEV allowances, regulations, variances, anything like that. So it's just something to start thinking about. And I'll tell you why I hope later on in these slides. Next page. Here's an example of what Hartford does. Granted, we're not a Hartford, but they actually have parking provisions in their zoning regulations. I'm not going to go through this page, but I just want to make the point that many towns are very proactive in this. And here's one example of Hartford's parking provisions in their zoning regulations. Next page. There's also building types. For different building types, there's different kinds of infrastructure, different kind of hardware you want to put in. And this is a building type description in Hartford for what kind of PEV infrastructure they put in depending on the building type. Is it commercial? Is it apartments? Is it just individual residents? So there's a lot of specificity in the zoning regulations depending on building type. Next page. This, if you can flip it, Allison, thank you. This is just the cover page of about a 90-page document that talks about infrastructure guidelines in multi-use buildings like apartments. And I've only copied this. And if you go to the next page, Allison, the table of contents that just describes to you the level of detail and thoughtfulness that has gone into providing this kind of technology, in this example, in multi-dwelling buildings. So it's a large document. If you want to get a hold of it, let me know. But again, there's a ton of information out there for you, for this commission to consider. Next page. Okay, so this header didn't come out very well, but this is course 7. And this is the planning module, the planning commission module. And just like for the zoning commission module, there are tasks, there are tools, there are incentives and resources. So when I show this to the planning commission, this will be the page I highlight with them. So I just want to point out to you that this was module 7, I think 7 or 8, and it's specifically for a planning commission to consider on how they might want to create policies, or when we update our POCD, how we might want to consider from a planning perspective, PEV. Next page. These are the resources available to the Planning Commission. There are many, and again, it's hundreds and hundreds of documents. I just want to make you aware, again, a lot of information is available. Next page. So let's talk about cost and technology. Just a very brief introduction to what does the equipment cost? So let's get into that. Here again is another document that talks about, this is a federal document, and it gives costs by state for this kind of investment. So next page. I think I've just pulled out a couple graphs. That's the executive summary. I'm not going to read it. It's in your package, that talks about all the factors that go into deciding, not only from a zoning perspective, but from a cost perspective, which PEV infrastructures do you put in? There are many different types, and there are many reasons why there are different types. And I think I'm going to hit on that in the next couple pages. Again, that's just the table of contents for that document. I'm not going to go through it, but again, a lot of information. Next page. So here's an example. If you can make that a little larger, Allison, I'm going to focus on the box in the middle. Depending on where your town is and what your workforce, how far they travel to work and what their needs are, there are different charging levels. There's level 1, level 2, and a fast charge. And those different levels charge at different rates for different vehicles. So if you need to charge for a 4-hour or a 4-mile ride or for a 50-mile ride, that you need to know that, because you have to put in a different charging level, and it's a different power source. So that's different infrastructure from a utility perspective. So just to give you an idea, these are the 3 most common charging levels that are put in municipalities. Next page. And of course, they cost different amounts. So for those different levels, you can see what an installation cost is. For level 1, a couple $1,000. For the fast charge, it could be $50,000. So just be aware that these variables are out there, and they're a very important part of any consideration for any developer or any municipality if we decide to go EV with our municipal fleet, for example. Some towns are actually taking their school bus fleet to EV, if you can believe it. So These are all a couple of the variables under consideration or need to be considered. Next page. Okay, this is the last page. Yay. One thing I also want to make you aware of is there's something called a Route 7 alternative fuel corridor program. And this is just a snapshot of a website page from the Federal Highway Commission that talks about the alternative fuel corridor. And Route 7 is now applying to be an approved corridor. And Allison, if you can scroll down to the bottom. What I'm saying here basically is Route 7 has been selected to be approved to be an EV corridor. And the key is they want to connect I-84 to I-95 all the way up to Massachusetts and then north. So there's reasons why you want to be considered an approved corridor. Once you're an approved corridor, it's a lot simpler. The state and federal government will come in and they will put a lot of signage up. It'll be on the federal and state website. And that reduces drivers' anxiety on using PEV because they know a charging station's just down the road. There's already 3 towns with on Route 7 in that corridor, and the application and approval that are expected in February of 2021 from the federal government to be an approved EV corridor. And there are certain requirements on things you have to do. The one thing they're asking of us is to send a letter of support saying that Brookfield would like to be a part of this EV corridor program. And I just want to pass that on to you. I'll be also communicating this to the Board of Selectmen. I have the template of the letter of support they would like us to send, basically the language. And that's the end of my presentation. I'll take any questions, but thank you for your time.
Greg, this is Frank Kwok. Where can we get this packet of information? I don't have that.
I thought it was in your package.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, sorry. Allison, I guess we, I'm sorry, y'all, none of you have this package?
No, sir.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can download it because it's right on the agenda online.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize. I thought it was in your package, but it is, I guess it's a link to your agenda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's on the Kurt, it's on the zoning page.
Yes. If you go to our agenda for today's zoning meeting, where you click in for Zoom, it's down near the bottom.
It's there. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Greg, inside when I go to what Kurt is referencing, when I go there, within your presentation, there was a screenshot of another document. Maybe are we able to drill down to get eventually on the web to that document as well?
Well, those are all PDFs I did for this presentation, but I have every email and every link in a whole folder. So I have all of that I could forward to you in its original email attachment for you to click on the link to open them up. So for anyone interested in that, I can certainly forward every one of those links to you.
All right, and maybe at the appropriate time, I'll get your email and I'll contact you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank you, Greg, for bringing this to our attention. And I feel like I'm scratching my head why, as a commission, we wouldn't have thought of this ahead of time. But it's great that it's here now. And I think the town of Brookfield is very lucky to have Kurt Timmerman on, being an EV driver and so smart and so helpful with this commission. I think that he can really help push the incentives and help us come up with a great way to do that. I will tell you, Greg, that I think if there's any way to get faster charging in Brookfield, that would be best, because people driving up Route 7 would rather stop and get a quick charge versus a level 1 and wait. So if you can help do that, I appreciate everything you're doing, because I do agree that EV driving is the future. And I would like to see Brookfield prepared for the future as best as possible. So I'm very appreciative that you brought this to our attention.
My pleasure. The one thing we're also considering, and I am talking to the DOT, one thing we could consider is putting EV charging stations on town property. Maybe the park and ride at exit 7 there. Mm-hmm. What I'm learning in this program is if there's an existing condominium complex with the homeowners association, they tend to be more resistant to doing this because it's very expensive for them and they have no infrastructure now. The most success stories we're getting are from large businesses, and maybe we want to talk to Branson Ultrasonics, for example, or a new apartment complex. If we have any new apartment complexes coming in, before they finish their design, that's the time, and that's where a lot of big successes are taking place across the state. When a new apartment complex comes up, the infrastructure goes in with it. Maybe you have zoning regulations that encourage that. And again, I gave you 1 or 2 examples. There's others, but that's the time you want to have the conversation.
I appreciate you coming on, Greg. That was some good information, and I think going to the Hartford regs and looking to see exactly what they have will be very informative, see what someone ahead of us has done. So,
Yep, thanks, Greg.
My pleasure. Have a good night, guys. And
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, yep,
Thank you, Greg.
you're welcome.
Fran, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Do I have anything to talk about tonight? No, I'm good.
what about the answer to your question, your math question last
Oh,
week?
I forgot all about that. That's right. Yeah. I don't, I only got the one response from you.
Oh,
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about it at the meeting.
Mary, what was your number?
What'd you say? I had 60.
I had 60 as well.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Me and Tony had 60 as well.
Did you show your work?
Tony has mine. We did it together.
Yeah, we did.
On the school bus, right? On the way to homeroom?
Yeah.
No, I'm actually good. I did get another complaint tonight. Eric, I sent you a message.
Yeah, I'll handle it.
Yeah, I mean, with the COVID, I mean, I don't know what this gentleman's thinking.
I don't know why you put, college and all that type of stuff. It's all red alert. No, I'll handle it.
Okay.
Um,
But besides that, I'm good. So I hope
Yeah.
everybody has a good Thanksgiving. Be safe.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah.
Don't travel too much.
No,
My wife's C-section scheduled for Black Friday, so that's gonna. I don't know if I'll be available at the next meeting. So I'm letting you
You'll be
guys know
sleeping?
that. I might not be sleeping. I might be just changing diapers, and I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
Best of
What's
luck.
the other one, Tony?
Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Yep. Another one already. So thank
Tony,
you.
how old's
That's
the
the
other one?
way.
My other one, her birthday was in August. So what? 1 year and 3 months now. 1 year and 4.
Man, you need to get with Steve Harden. You both are in this, like, I don't want to sleep kick. Definitely exchange war stories right now.
But you do
Yeah.
it all at once. You get it all over with, and then you can sleep in a few
That's
years.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you're starting to look as old as I am, man, really quick. It's not good.
You're right. I'll stay back.
On that, Tony, do you want to end us? You want to make
Yeah.
the motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
Night.
Night.
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.